Hello everyone. Once again, the startup ecosystem is seeing a lot of movement with funding as well as new appointments. I'm Priya Sheth and a very warm welcome to all of you to the Daily Dispatch. The companies that are grabbing headlines today are Pika, Pine Labs as well as Stellaris Ventures. Well, headline number one, Gurugram-based Pika adds itself to the funding spree in the startup world today. The SaaS-based logistics startup has attracted a Series B funding of $12 million led by IIFL, Amicus Capital as well as Ananta Capital. Now with this fresh capital, the company will be looking at strengthening technology, warehousing solutions as well as expanding the leadership team. Well, headline number two, entrepreneur and founder of Cred, Kunal Shah, will be joining the board of Pine Labs, which is a merchant commerce platform. This appointment comes at a time when Pine Labs has prepared for an initial public offering in the US, and just last month they raised about $600 million led by Fidelity as well as BlackRock, and are now looking at expanding their footprints in international markets. Well, moving on to the final headline of the day, VC firm Stellaris Venture Partners has announced the closing of its second fund at $225 million. Now, global institutional capital forms more than 80% of the capital base of this second fund. And from this new fund, Stellaris expects to make about 25 to 30 new investments in seed as well as Series A rounds of technology companies. Well, moving on to our second segment, I have with me someone who is establishing themselves in the edtech space. I have with me Vijeet Pandey from ClassMonitor. Thank you very much, Vijeet, for joining us today on the Daily Dispatch. How come you called your company ClassMonitor? Was that always close to your heart? Were you the class monitor back in school?
I was a monitor in my early days in the school, but when I returned back from India, the way we established this company was we initially entered the market as a parent-teacher communication platform. So at that point of time, this brand name made sense. And then eventually we evolved into this ClassMonitor learning kit. And then we started selling. And by the time we realized that this name might not work in the market, we had already sold a lot of products, a lot of kits. So I contacted a couple of brand experts, and then they said that the kind of volumes and the kind of numbers that you are already hitting. So the name is working out for the market. So you better stick to the brand name. So yeah. So ClassMonitor, I was always a class monitor,
Right. Some things always stick with you then. I want to understand about the last couple of months in terms of the kind of adoption that you've seen, because I do understand that you are basically into home-based learning solutions. Just wanted to understand what's been the kind of uptake that you've seen over the last couple of months.
I would say that Priya, last 12 months have been marvelous in terms of the way the ClassMonitor as a brand has grown and evolved. If I could just mention, in the last 12 to 14 months, we have managed to deliver and dispatch our kits in more than 5,000 pin codes across India, as well as 14 countries outside India. So I'll say that as a brand, we have grown and we have managed to reach out to the smallest of cities in India, which I think in a way it's great for a brand like ClassMonitor, which is just growing brand.
So tell us how many cities you're reaching at this point in time, and what kind of expansion plan are you working with in terms of geographical footprint?
Right now, I'll say that we have a presence in around 600 plus cities in India. 65% of our contribution is coming from top 40 cities of India, but then we also have a lot of demand coming from very small towns spread across India. In terms of expansion, we are currently focusing on India, but from last 2 weeks itself, we have started our operations in US and Dubai market. So now, because we were getting a lot of organic demand from these two countries, especially, so we are now looking at, at a focused effort in growing these two countries as well.
Right. Well, international markets are also a focus area for you. I wanted to understand in terms of categories of learning, which are the categories where you're seeing an increased kind of traction, within the entire home-based learning segment. What specific areas are you seeing good uptake for?
Right now, we are catering kids between the age of 1 to 8 years. And if I talk about this particular age bracket that we are targeting, we are seeing a huge upsurge between the age of 1 to 5 years. So our majority of our volumes are coming between this age bracket, which is 1 to 5 years. However, in the long run, ClassMonitor is going to increase its products between the age of 0 to 12 years. So right now we have 9 different product variants catering kids between the age of 1 to 8. But in the long run, we are going to keep our focus between the age bracket of 0 to 12 years.
Right. I wanted to understand in terms of the kind of focus area and the diversification plan that you're working with, what would be your top three focus areas for FY22 at large?
I mean, right now, like I said, we're spending heavily on our content team to develop the content for the future use, targeting kids between the age of 0 to 12. So, I mean, between 0 to 6, we are going to stick to our pedagogy of keeping kids away from mobile phone and tablets. Between age 6 to 12, we are building in a lot of AI, ML enabled technology, which will be given directly in the hand of a child. So, I mean, penetrating deeper in the markets where we are already present, building in a lot of content for the future use, and then, having increased efforts in the marketing that we're doing right now. So, these are the three major focus areas for the company.
Right, when you talk about the edtech space, we are seeing a lot of virtual learning that's also happening, and a lot of programs are getting launched online. So, along with the learning kits, are you also looking at some sort of edtech platform where children can enroll and sort of log in and have home-based learning, which is virtual?
So right now, like I said, Priya, our pedagogy between ages 0 to 6 is to keep kids away from mobile phone and tablets and screens, basically. So we are going to stick to that pedagogy. But at the same time, what we are doing is that, for example, all the customers who are purchasing our kits, we are coming with a live class program as well. So below age 6, these live classes are meant for a parent or an educator, and with an involvement of a child as well. But beyond age 6, we have come up with live classes which is targeting kids directly. So, I mean, once a user is there on our platform as and a buyer for our learning kit, then once the trust is there, then eventually they obviously go for the next product, which is live classes for them as of now.
Right. I also wanted to understand in terms of the kind of offline presence. I do understand that you are a digital first platform to begin with, but in terms of offline expansion, any retail chains that you're in talks with to ensure that learning kits are sold via those platforms as well?
So, Priya, I would like to mention that right now we have three sales channels in the company. So, the first one is D2C, which is contributing the biggest volume to the company right now. Then we are also partnering with a lot of independent preschools. Indian preschool market is divided into branded and unbranded. Branded ones are like Kids Bachpan, Kids. These schools, they have a dedicated content team, which is working in developing the really quality content for their franchisees. But 85% of the Indian preschool market it is unbranded, which is primarily started by housewives who are passionate to do something, but they're not trained to be teachers. So all these 85, this 85% of the market, which is independent preschools, these schools are partnering with us, where they are replacing their old teaching methods with ClassMonitor learning kits. So that is the second sales channel. And then also we have managed to create a distribution network of more than 200 plus mothers who are official distributors of our product, and they are spread across India. So, say, for example, a customer places an order from Guwahati. So, I have a distributor who is already present in Guwahati. So, the moment company gets an order from Guwahati, we route that order to a distributor who is present in Guwahati, and within 24 to 40 hours, we get the kits dispatched there. So, we have already created a very strong distribution network of 200 plus mothers who all are coming from really good families, and they're passionate to do something. They were the user of a product first, and once they had a conviction on a product, that's when they have joined the company as a reseller of our product.
Right. With this kind of aggressive expansion plans that you're working with, what kind of investment can we expect? Are you looking at raising some funds? I do believe that you did one small fundraise a couple of months ago, but is there something on the anvil?
Right now, to be honest, Priya, we have decent margins on our product. And I, as a founder, I believe in doing right things right way. So right now, I'm not chasing investors for funds. We have sufficient bank balance to run the company the way we want to grow for next 14 to 18 months. But at the same time, we are in talks with a couple of VC firms to kind of look into our Series A. But I don't want to rush it, to be honest. We want to really raise the funds when we feel that we are prepared for the next phase.
And final question before I let you go on the revenue front, what kind of revenues are you expecting in FY22 in terms of growth numbers? What kind of metrics can we expect?
Last year, if I talk about 2020, the numbers grew more than 5 times. We are looking to grow the numbers to 10, by 10x for this particular financial year. We are currently at 10 CR sort of ARR right now. We are expecting that we'll grow to at least 25 CR by end of this financial year.
All right. On that note, we wish you all the very best, and we do hope that you achieve the kind of targets that you've set for yourself. Thank you so much for being a part of the Daily Dispatch.
Thank you, Priya. Thank you. Really appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, time now to wrap up this edition of the Daily Dispatch. I'll catch you tomorrow at 5 p.m. Goodbye and have a lovely day.